The Travis County District Attorney is offering a plea deal to indicted State Representative Donna Dukes. Well, as of today, nearly 400 of APD's Ford Explorers are off Austin streets. This is all due to complaints about possible carbon monoxide poisoning. This is a good one. A dog in Maine was given what may have been a life-saving dose of the anti-opioid medication Narcan. Here she is, 3-year-old Addie. She looks fine today. Hard to believe she went through this. Chewing through a bottle of oxycodone, swallowing more than a dozen pills. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jorge Rodas. We begin tonight with news out of Lahore, Pakistan, where dozens are dead following a bombing at a park filled with children as families were celebrating Easter. Today, Belgian authorities charged 3 people following the terror attacks in Brussels that left 31 people dead. Exactly where the fire started and what caused it. I'm going to take you right to the scene. You see the second floor here. It's the building attached to the restaurant portion itself. That's where these pits were. That's what caught fire. We still see units showing up, some unmarked police vehicles and crime scene units. It's hard to see from this vantage point, but the back parking lot of this office building is where this investigation is centered. The fire chief here says they believe about $750,000 worth in damages here, a total loss, as they say. The owner uncertain at this point if he's going to rebuild. He has to see if the building can even handle that. But first I want to point out, they said I had to be this tall to do a live shot up here. Thankfully I am. Obviously we want to make sure that our kids are safe, and for the record, this is my little guy, George III. I love him. Let's get it done. All right, we're going to get to work and toss it back to you. If you don't like pain, you squeamish, look away.
William Birch isn't considering his Chevy Tahoe a total loss.
The vehicle landed right here on the corner and just kind of pushed everything down.
He says the truck will need a lot of work.
I take it you didn't see anything coming.
No, but I heard it.
And felt it. This BMW falling several stories from this downtown parking garage and right on top of his car while he was still in it.
Yeah, she bounced off the corner and, you know, gosh.
He's still finding it all hard to believe. Birch was parking in the alley to check up on a project he's managing. He heard noise from above. Aware a car had almost fallen down from the same garage last year, he didn't hesitate, throwing his SUV into gear and hitting the gas.
Something told me to press the gas harder, but I didn't want to go too fast and, you know, run into the dumpsters, but, you know, then a car lands on me. I was on the speakerphone with my mom at the time when this happened, and I could just imagine what she was thinking. I said, a car just landed on me, I gotta go, you know, so.
Birch immediately turned his attention to pulling the driver out of the car flipped on its top, then called back his mother to say the truck was bent up, but he was without a scratch. Jorge Rodas, KXAN News. Starting tomorrow, these will all be parked. Officers will transition from Explorers into Crown Vics, marked and unmarked. But that's not where the changes end.
We will have the exact same number of officers on duty every single night. However, they will be doubled up.
Chief Brian Manley says that could pose problems. It's simple math. 2 officers to a unit means roughly half as many patrol cars on the road, leaving the department with roughly half the capabilities of patrolling the city and a dramatically decreased visual presence. That also means it may take longer for police to show when you call. Response times may be longer, the chief says. Violent and life-threatening calls for service will receive top priority.
For those criminals that might think that this is an opportunity to take advantage of the circumstances that we're in, remember, we now have a whole fleet of unmarked vehicles that are equipped with the emergency lights and all of that will be out in the community as well, on patrol, that are not readily identifiable as police cars.
And that could raise concerns over police impersonators.
Chief Manley says anyone who doesn't trust an unmarked car pulling them over, call 911. Dispatch will let you know if the person behind you is really a cop.
I don't anticipate that this is going to be a huge problem, but I think some may have concerns, so I want to address that head on.
Bottom line, the chief believes the city can get through this transition unscathed. Jorge Rodas, KXAN News. Austin has changed a lot since the 60s, but this door has preserved a view into the past. That looks pretty cool. We're gonna need a flashlight. This should be enough. Let's go on down. So it looks like perhaps this
Shelter wasn't made for someone like me. Oh, cobwebs. Not my favorite. Well, the beds are still made.
Everything in this bomb shelter has been in place since the 1960s. Supplies, food, some clearly having seen better days. They're all still here.
Essentially, there's enough space here for a couple people to live in underneath the surface should they need to. Ooh.
I do remember finding this map, and it had the crosshairs right on San Antonio.
Greg Denham discovered the bunker shortly after buying the property years ago. He's since sold it, but still fascinated by the mindset of Americans in that era.
And to have that much fear and to be that scared that you would go to these lengths to build something that, not cheap to build.
We'll see you guys in about 60 years.
These photos at the Austin History Center show us just how Austin took the threat of nuclear war. The city going as far as building a model fallout shelter at Zilker Park for people to use as a guide should they want one themselves.
Wow, look at that dapper young man. How old were you in this?
I would have been 37.
Terrell Blodgett was Austin's assistant city manager in the late 50s, early 60s. He also served as the city's civil defense director, his job to warn Austin should there be an attack. He remembers that era well and finds Americans' treatment of the threat of nuclear war today peculiar.
I'm sort of surprised that there is not more concern over the possibility of real trouble than there is.
He built in a periscope. Oh, that is cool. So you can see the zombie apocalypse.
Denham doesn't fear nuclear war and thinks Americans shouldn't.
I think we're just removed from it. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem like that big a threat. I know the world's getting smaller, but North Korea sure seems far away. And can the missiles really reach Texas? I don't know.
A lot has changed since the 60s. Jorge Rodas, KXAN News.